Yeah. I tuned in yesterday, the first half of the show. He just took it over. So he's back on his couch, thankfully. So, yes, welcome to Tuesday morning in Melbourne. We'll give you a quick look at our weather. It's a bit overcast, no rain yet today. There was a bit overnight. So, big tanker on the horizon there. Bit of blue sky out the back, but pretty overcast at the moment. I haven't looked at any weather reports, but considering the rain they got in Adelaide over the weekend, I'm assuming that's going to hit us at some stage. We're usually a day behind them. We got a bit yesterday, but we need a lot more for those reservoirs. So we'll see how we go. Apparently it's going to be, if you're judging by the Northern Hemisphere, we're in for one hot summer going forward. So I don't mind good summers. I don't like really hot summers, especially in this place. I've got one crappy little air conditioning unit up there that doesn't do anything. And all I've got is those tower fan things. And they don't do a lot. They're all right. But when you have 5 hot days in a row, you're pretty much just dying by the end of it. So we'll see how we go. Going to have to get used to it. The hoodies will be coming off, unfortunately, for you guys going forward. So, that's our view. Let's get into our Bible read for the day, and then we'll get into things. We're up to August 11th. Are we still in the Old Testament? I think we are. We certainly are. God, we've been getting this. The prayer of a man in exile, Psalm 42, 1 through 8, 10 through 11. People passing through life's deep and troubled waters have found comfort in this psalm. That's us at the moment, as it depicts the reality of both sadness and of God's comfort. As a deer longs for a stream of cool water, so I long for you, O God. I thirst for you, the living God. What can I do? When can I go and worship in your presence? Day and night I cry, and tears are my only food. All the time my enemies ask me, where is your God? My heart breaks when I remember the past, when I went with the crowds to the house of God and led them as they walked along. A happy crowd singing and shouting praise to God. Why am I so sad? Why am I so troubled? I will put my hope in God, and once again I will praise him, my Saviour and my God. Here in exile my heart is breaking, and so I turn my thoughts to him. He sent waves of sorrow over my soul. Chaos roars at me like a flood, like waterfalls thundering down to the Jordan from Mount Hermon and Mount Mizar. May the Lord show his constant love during the day, so that I may have a song at night, a prayer to the God of my life. I am crushed by their insults as they keep on asking me, where is your God? Why am I so sad? Why am I so troubled? I will put my hope in God, and once again I will praise him, my Saviour and my God. We all go through that, I think. You have difficult times in your life, and you ask the question, where are you, God? What the hell am I going through this for? And I've had those several times. And I've come to the conclusion, and whether it's right or wrong, I don't know. That's the other mystery of God, that God puts us through these trials to test us. Will we bend? Will we crack? Will we, for example, give him away? Society, there's other temptations we get that we crack for, whether they be business, greed, sexual temptations, violence, things that we're clearly told through the Bible not to entertain, and yet we do. Hatred towards another human being. And every time you turn on your TV sets or get on social media, how much of that do we see every single day? I mean, my only surprise with God, in many ways, is he looks down upon this and he thinks, maybe we should send another bit of a flood and sort this stuff out. But he keeps it going. There are reasons for all of this. So the only thing we can control in all of it, you can watch your TVs, you can get on your social media. The only thing you can control is yourself. And the way you live and the way your acts and what you do. And no matter when people come at you, and I've had plenty of that, you do have to develop a thick skin. And you have to go dig deep. And there's one thing I do like about being single. You have to dig deep and decide what you stand for and then dig your heels in. You draw that line and not a step back further, and you dig your heels in, and you then stand for what you believe. If you can do that, I believe that's a very noble thing. And yeah, I have to give some credit. I hate saying this, but I have to. Sorry, I'm just getting my do not disturb button on. I hate. Oh, it is on. One already good calls yesterday. Even to my enemies, who through whatever stupidity they have, absolutely believe in what they're fighting for, dig their heels in, and they have the intestinal fortitude to take that. You've got to respect that as well. The worst enemy we've got in this country are the Islamic/socialists. But you've got to respect them for the fact they stand for what they believe in and they'll fight for it. People on my side of politics, well, not so much. And there's reasons for that. But if we don't start digging our heels in and fighting, and when I say fighting, doing, for example, what I'm doing, having a podcast, running it every day, getting the message out. You who are watching this podcast could help get the message out by spreading the podcast details on social media. We start talking, we start discussing, we start organising, because we need to start doing that to get a push back. For example, tonight, what are you going to write down? What are you going to write down in that census? Are you going to write down you're a Christian, an atheist, something other? Because there's a campaign going on in tonight's census. And don't forget, fill it in. There's a lot of people telling you not to fill it in. I'd say don't take their advice. It's going to cost you a fortune. You'll end up in court. You're going to pay a whole lot of money. If they're worried about their details and they're on the internet, they're an absolute fool. You can have the best firewall software protection you want to ever have. And what I've found in my experience is they've got all your details anyway. Just don't have your bank details there. Now, I'm damn sure the census is not asking you for your bank details. Now, I've got nothing to hide. You may have something to hide. That's your individual choice. But if we don't fill that census in, and there's some idiots out there showing you the libertarian thing and all this nonsense, Joel Jamal being one of them. What a wanker that guy is. He gets up every morning and plucks his eyebrows and makes him have this presence. I've never seen a person who considers himself an influencer with so little influence. But he's out there encouraging people not to submit this census. Don't listen to him. Be smarter. Submit the census. Don't tempt the government with fines. It's a hefty fine. And it goes up every day. You don't put it in. So there's better ways to fight than to fight with Joel. I can tell you that. There's a lot of influences on the internet that will encourage you to do something that they won't do. So be careful of who you listen to. All I ask is you shout me a coffee. Talking of which, my big mug. Love my big mug. And spread the word. You know, I'm not here. I'm going to say I'm not here for clicks, but in ways I am. But I'm not here for clicks to make a fortune out of it. I'm here to get eyes on it, and hopefully others join me. So I'm here for a cause. I'm here to say I'm a boomer, and I'm hearing the issues that young people have. A lot of us boomers just write them off. We had a podcast last week where Stephen, great guy, not boomer like me, he was pretty critical of the younger generations, and I can understand his point of view. But it's up to us older generations not to put them down and give them something they can understand, something, a message they can follow, a warning. You know, we've got this march happening on Thursday. How many of those kids have been indoctrinated by the socialists? All of them. By their teachers, by the university lecturers, by grubs within their university sphere. And I worked at a university for a little bit. I saw it with my own eyes, what it's all about, the LGBTQI alliance, the socialist alliance, They've got their posters up all around. If you're just a normal kid from a normal family and this is just hitting you, little wonder we get so many of our kids going there, because we don't sit them down. We don't explain this stuff. Politics is too hard. You know, is my team going to win at the footy this week? Am I going down to the beach on my jet ski, or am I going out on the bay fishing? You know, things that are enjoyable but aren't important. If you didn't have the footy to follow next week, the politicians are still going to be there. If you didn't have a boat to go fishing in, the politicians are going to come fishing through your salary for their tax out of your wage. They're going to hit you with fines on the road if you speed, or if you run a traffic light, or if you smoke a cigarette. Now they're coming for your ability to gamble. We have politicians sticking their fingers in every facet of our lives. And you've got no choice about that. Well, you do, but we choose poorly. You know, Bob Hawke used to say, you know, the voters will get it right. No, voters don't get it right. Voters get it wrong more than they get it right. That's my experience. For God's sakes, here in Victoria, we have voted the ALP in since Kennett, you know, something like 24 of the last 28 years. That's not right. That's bloody wrong. We put Albo in as Prime Minister. That's not right. That's bloody wrong. We put Turnbull into the Lodge. That's not right. That's bloody wrong. We put Gillard and Rudd into the Lodge. That's not right. That's bloody wrong. We get it wrong a lot. The Greens poll at between 10 and 15% all the time. That's bloody wrong. So we get it wrong. We got to start taking it more seriously. We've got to have those conversations, those inconvenient, uncomfortable conversations with the younger generation so they can have a better life. They're not going to get a better life with chasing socialism and ALP government and Greens government. It's going to destroy their future. And we're not going to get it right by allowing these socialist frauds to spread misinformation and disinformation about our heritage, about our forebears, and about the people who built this country. They were magnificent people. They weren't evil colonialists. Did they do things wrong? Yes, but overwhelmingly they did things right. Overwhelmingly. You never hear that, do you? Everyone attacks that Union Jack on our flag without explaining what the Union Jack actually represents. If you're a Christian, you should embrace and love that Union Jack. If you're an atheist, you should embrace and love that Union Jack, because it gives you the ability to be an atheist. Because through that Union Jack, with true Christian faith that built Western civilization, we recognize the liberty of an individual to live and choose how they live, to choose how they think. That all came from that flag. That flag sent ships across oceans to start societies, to build societies that believed in teaching about the greatness of the individual. And yeah, the Yanks like to claim it and all that, but the Yanks' heritage is still from that country and that flag, which is going through an absolute nightmare at the moment. If England falls, Western civilization will probably go with it. That's the fight they're having over there, and thankfully they've got a couple of leaders, and I don't like Farage, but his policy platform is decent. I do like Rupert Lowe. I do like Kemi Badenoch too. There's some centre-right alliances, just like over here in Australia. They're all going their own way. They've got to unite. We've got to unite here. If we don't unite, this country dies. And the people wanted to unite. I mean, look at the polls. If you add up the centre-right voting bloc right now and put it together, it smashes the ALP. You'd wipe the ALP out of government in a tsunami. It'd be gone. They're polling under 30% now. The collective centre-right is closer to 50%, but it's split between the LNP and One Nation. And the major fault for that is the LNP, because how many times you hear about Pauline saying, yeah, we want to work together, we want to get out the ALP government, and then you've got idiots like Jane Hume, James Peterson, and what's that other idiot, Tim Wilson from my area. Also, no, we don't want to work with One Nation. Well, reality will make you want to work with One Nation, or you can start working with the ALP. Good luck with that. That'll be the end of your party. In fact, I wish you'd get it over and done with and just declare your hand. Too many moderates still in that LNP. It needs to be a split. It has to be a split within the Liberal Party especially. Most Nationals are Conservatives, but within the Liberals, you've got your moderates, and the moderates, they keep dragging the Conservatives down. I'll be writing, got so much on at the moment, but I will be writing a letter to all the Liberal federal members and telling them exactly. I've already actually written it to them and told them that, but I'll tell them again because the evidence in front of them is absolutely stark. In the politics of this country, if we're to remove, and my big fear here, we will not remove an ALP government in Victoria, not because the ALP are any good, but because the centre-right vote is split. And we'll end up, I'm very confident if things don't change very quickly, we are going to end up with a minority ALP government and the Wild West in the upper house. It'll be a nightmare. Just when we need 4 years of consistent, strong, good governance, we're going to get a mess. And I think we're going to get a mess federally unless things change as well. And Australia will become the Wild West. There'll be everybody in for themselves. They'll be nuts. And in that environment, the socialists, the Greens and all that, they'll thrive. Because if you don't have good governance, people aren't happy. They're looking to change. They're looking to rebel. They're looking to take out their anger at the ballot box, and they'll vote for anything. And that's where you get the idiots in Parliament. So if the Liberals don't understand that, they shouldn't be standing for election. Having said that, Jess Wilson did make it for the Victorian election a very good point yesterday. While One Nation and them is saying they'll work together, they have yet to announce their lower house candidates. Done the upper house ones, but if you want to be government, and I'm sick to death of hearing, we've had this amazing growth, we've snowed under all that. Great. Fantastic. But with that growth, you should be able to recruit volunteers to help you. Now, I've sworn never to get involved in a political party. I did it once. I regret it. Never do it again. It's not my job to hand you my vote. It's your job to win me my vote. But if One Nation is going through this massive growth, you should be able to get, like most political parties, organisations, a decent base of people that will work for you. Whether they arrange fundraisers or donations, or whether they volunteer, so that if you fundraise and get money and you can put on staff, and you only have to do it, for example, in Victoria for 4 months. And as soon as you get people into Parliament, the taxpayer will pay them as staff. You become a much more formidable political force. So stop your bloody whining, get yourself organised, get your candidates up, and get as many of them into Parliament as you can. And Jess Wilson's point was this: well, if you want to talk preferences and alliances and all this, where's your candidates? We've got ours up. How can we negotiate a preference deal when we don't even know who the candidate is in the electorate we'll be exchanging preferences with? It's actually a very valid bloody point. So Warren Pickering, One Nation, stop talking, start doing. Sorry, I want to pump up your tyres. I will pump up your tyres. I want to send a message to the thing. What I'm worried about is this: if One Nation don't grab this chance and they don't poll really well, let's say they get, and I don't want to be jumping up and celebrating if they get a handful of lower house MPs or 1 or 2 upper house MPs who are going to have no impact on the legislation or governance. I mean, that's just a waste of time. They'll sit in there for 4 years as spectators to the real show that's going on, and they'll have missed their opportunity. The Libertarians did that a little bit. No, actually, no, the Libertarians did that a lot. And where are the Libertarians today? Politics gives you this one chance. The reason the Liberals and Labor are all there, the uni parties, is they've got a machine, a political machine underneath them that ensures they keep putting candidates up. And until that machine gets destroyed, they will keep putting candidates up at every election. They give themselves a chance. And all they need is one good leader who can grab the attention of the public and put across a good policy platform, and they will win government. Is Warren capable of that in Victoria? Is Pauline capable of that in Australia? I give Pauline a chance. I haven't seen enough of Warren. And what annoys me on the yesterday and over the weekend I saw is here we are, less than 16 weeks, less than 4 months out from one of the most important state elections this state's ever seen. And on the One Nation, the Victorian One Nation page, they're celebrating a trivia night. Bloody trivia night. I mean, Sports clubs are on trivia nights. I understand you got to have trivia nights. You got to do your fundraising. But surely right now, after you've announced candidates, you start announcing your policies. What are you going to do? There's people like me that are hanging by their fingertips waiting for your candidates and policies so we can discuss it with people who follow us. We've got nothing. We've been throwing little scraps off the table. I hope there's scraps of a meal, and that scraps is not the main meal. You know, announcing a broad idea is not a policy. You know, a broad idea is we're going to make police stronger. Well, okay, how? We're going to eliminate, and it wasn't a good idea. I don't know. I've got to look at this. Warren Pickering claimed the Indigenous Chamber of Parliament, Indigenous representative, was going to cost us $70 billion a year. I think he's got his things confused. I think it's $70 million. Now, that's not a good start if that's true. I will look into that and get back to you. But $70 billion does sound an awful lot. $70 billion a year. And if that's true, then he's got off to a very bad start. Yeah, in fact, if that's true, I'm surprised the ALP aren't attacking him more. So, you know, what's your policy? What's your costings? And costings are important in Victoria. I know most people will roll their eyes and get bored at it. We're $200 billion bloody dollars in debt. Costings are important. More importantly, where are the savings going to come from? What are you going to cut? Do you have the courage, whether it's Jess Wilson or Warren Pickering, to announce what departments you're going to eliminate? Because there's no other way of saving. You've got to eliminate bureaucratic departments. You've got to put people out of a job, yes. Guess what? They've got to go into the private workforce like the rest of us does. You know, earn a go and get a real job. Not a job that you just walk up to and get paid an awful lot of money because of your union movement, because governments don't have the spine to eliminate that ridiculous, stupid job you got. The Minister for Men's could be one place to start. If the Minister for Women could be another place to start. Men and women can decide for themselves what they bloody want. We don't need a politician telling us. We don't need a ministry for every bloody thing that comes up. Oh, we go ministry for the arts. Why do we need a ministry for the arts? You know, there'll be all the arty-farty. Oh, we need this. No, we don't. Most people don't go to an art gallery. Most people don't go to a museum. Most people don't go for a symphony orchestra showing or anything like that. The elites do. So the elites expect the everyday Aussie who battles to pay for a KO subscription or a Netflix subscription to just have a moment to themselves for some entertainment. You know, I have my KO Sports. I have it during the footy season. I can't afford that $40 a month for the whole year. And the only reason I have it is because they've got the subscription deal, because our governments have allowed it through, is it Channel 7? So on Saturdays, if your team plays on a Saturday, if you don't have KO, you can't watch it. So we've got a hand behind our back. So, you know, little luxuries. So that's the lot of most or everyday Victorians and Australians. Why do we need ministries to service the elites? Don't get it. You can start there, Jess Wilson, but you won't start there, Jess Wilson, because your inner elites are your core base. So you'll find a way to tax the everyday Aussie more than you will the elites and take away what is surplus. So I want to know those policies. Warren, I want to know your policies. We're less than 16 weeks out. Surely it's time to announce some policies and candidates. So let's get serious. There's my rant again, and you're probably going to hear a bit about that. Sorry if you're not from Victoria, but this applies to every single state. New South Wales is coming up for a big election next year. Similar circumstance. I think One Nation will do stronger there because they're more established. Sorry, that rant deserved a coffee. Yeah, in New South Wales, I think One Nation are far more established than what they are here, so they'll be a bit better, more effective on the ground than what they are in Victoria, I think. But we'll see. It is interesting. I saw Warren, who did promise me to come on my podcast and never followed up. He's gone to ground. I did have a person put a theory to me. I'm not too sure how it is. That Rebel News paid them an awful lot to cover their thing. I'm uncomfortable with the RV Yemeni Rebel News attachment to One Nation. One Nation banned ABC, and fair enough too. I don't blame them for this. They don't have any obligation to have these people in their presses, so they banned the ABC, the Age, and the Guardian from their press conferences, but they allowed Rebel News in. Now, here's the issue I have with that, and I'm all in for One Nation. Here's the issues I have that. One, Pauline Hanson, I think, is at her best when she's pushing back against the critics. She's got her back up. She's got fire and brimstone going. She looks fantastic. I love it. And I think a lot of normal Australians want that person who will call out the ABC to their face, not ban them, call them out to their face. Yeah, we understand they're biased. We understand they're crooks. We understand they lie and cheat and all that sort of thing. Now, most people understand that who watch any sort of politics. Personally, I think whoever gave the advice to ban them is foolish. Have them in there. Let them answer stupid questions and make them look stupid. That's the way you win over people, undecided voters. But okay, you don't have them in there. You think they're biased. That's fair enough. And you kick them out. Okay, that's your choice. But now we've got Avi Yemeni from Rebel News, who seems to have appointed himself as the Praetorian Guard for Pauline Hanson. And Pauline's loving it. She's got Rebel News in her back pocket. Rebel News doesn't get across to enough Australians, Pauline. Sorry. If you've got ambitions for government, you're not going to get there through Avi and Rebel News. And undecided voters going to look at Avi and his post and the way he tries to protect you in those press conferences and shield you. They're going to look at that as being just as biased as the ABC. And it's going to turn them off. She's not fair income. What am I voting for this for? They'll look elsewhere. They will look elsewhere. I'm sorry. You've got to, if you can't stand the heat, you got to get out of the kitchen, not redefine the kitchen. You can't have a kitchen and kick your oven out of it, So control it. Push back against it. Argue it. Don't rely on a guy like Avi, who might be popular in some circles, but he's just as unpopular in others. Have Avi in there, but have the ABC in there, have the Guardian in there, have the Age in there. If you truly want to present yourself as a warrior of legitimate, honest transparency, fairness, and proper media, then kick out the Guardian, kick out the ABC, kick out the Age, but kick out Avi as well. Because Avi's not going to be independent, he's not going to be fair, he's not going to be transparent, and he's certainly no journalist. I know he likes to proclaim himself as a journalist, but he ain't no journalist. And anyone who watches that sees that as right as day. So people may not like hearing that. I don't care. If you've got eyes and ears, it tells you that. And I'm with the centre right. There's a lot of things I agree with Avi on. And who was the other one that Warren went crawling to? One of Avi's mates, Topher Field. So I'm a centre right Victorian. I'm on the One Nation bandwagon. I'm a conservative. I love the platform. People who follow me follow that. Warren, your half an hour interview, and I know what it's all about. I'll tell you in a minute. You had with Topher, and to be fair, I haven't listened to it. And listen, I think Topher's got some good ideas, but Topher's based in New South Wales. Topher's a libertarian. He's not a conservative. Topher's pushing, as is Avi, the One Nation barrow, because there's clicks attached to it. Simple as that. They're a sycophant. If you don't know what a sycophant is, look it up. And if that's not true, where was Avi and Topher the last federal election for One Nation? They will, if your numbers go down, they'll jump off as quick as you like. But I've been conservative my entire time on this platform. Warren, I was out pushing conservatism before you even did. So maybe you should come to the people that actually would be your base and not go to people simply because they've got higher clicks or bigger followings. A higher click or a bigger following, I'm not pursuing overseas audience. Avi does. Avi's got 600,000 followers. How many of them are legitimate Australia First Aussies that want to turn this country around? How many of them are, for example, from Israel? How many of them from Canada? How many of them from North America? He gets, to his credit, I'm not knocking him for this, he gets followers from all over the globe. He'd have plenty of them from England because of his relationship with Tommy Robinson, which I think is a good thing. But you look at just followers, but you don't look at the core ingredient behind it. My core followers, and I've got 11,000 of them, it's not huge numbers, but I guarantee the vast bulk of them are from Australia and Victoria, and nearly all of them would be conservative. So you can go to Topher and his libertarians or Harvey and whatever he's got, and you can try and get as big a punch out of that as you can. I'm not too sure you're going to have much traction. So Warren, it's about time you stuck to your word, because I'm big on that, and you came on the podcast, and let's have a chat. I'm asking all these questions. You could be answering them to my face, or send me one of your candidates. I don't know why, and my gut feeling, I think Harvey is very close to Pauline, and for whatever reason, because I've been critical of Harvey, so I think he's had a sook to Pauline, because I had Malcolm Roberts on, and that was a great interview. But Harvey, I've got no doubt, if he ever found out that I was having an interview, would say, "Oh, don't go near that guy." So, and I have been pushing One Nation for a few interviews. What are you? I mean, get your message out there. Anyway, time to look into the day's news. Let's have a look. Oh, God, I haven't got it up. Been too busy yapping. While I'm getting this up, if you guys have got, and I really do want to get some feedback, and I'll be approaching other people about coming on, about the podcast and what we should do and what we should discuss, put them through. I'm not going to get to you. I'll go with it, but I'd still like to hear your ideas, and I'll certainly reply to you and thank you for your ideas. So if you've got any ideas to push up, or you want subjects for me to cover, send them on through. Coffee. Oh, I've got to swill that coffee because it's such a big mug. If I don't start doing it often enough, it gets so cold. Nothing worse than a cold coffee. Better than no coffee, but there's nothing worse. Anyway, let's get X up. Let's have a look what's going on in the world. You see this when I see this. Yesterday, I had to do a submission for my work, the presentation, get it all together. My God. I'm pretty good with Adobe Premiere. I'm trying to put a video together for my customer base to explain our, in junior sport, we're trying to explain our program that we give the kids and how they improve and demonstrate it from the games. And for some reason, I'm in a loop here. Here we go. My Adobe Premiere software, I updated it, and oh my God, by updating it, I had so many tech issues. It took me forever to get through it. So I really haven't looked at it. I'm pretty sure I've got nothing in my bookmarks because I was on that like all day until I went to bed. It was a nightmare. Let's see if I did put anything. I might have in between. No. I didn't think I had. Let's see if there's anything more general. Maybe in clips to watch. So there's that interview. So there's Warren with Topher. Me and Topher bat. I think Topher is very good with policy. I've listened to a couple of his programs, and I sit up in my seat and I agree. You know, he really gets me out of my seat when he's talking policy. When he talks political strategy, my eyes just roll. His marble strategy, I think, has played a big part in getting the ALP up. He's a great rant from, oh God, I've forgotten his name. What's his name? You know his name if you see it? God, I'll figure it out later on. It's too late to need that coffee. Bill Martin's. Oh, let's listen to Bill. Bill's very good. This is a takedown of Fauci, as he should be taking down that little bastard. He should be in prison.
But you have to try awfully hard not to notice how much Fauci is energized by being embraced by one particular cultural tribe. It was Julia Roberts who was telling Fauci he was Jesus with a petri dish, not Randy Quaid. And that side likes to think of themselves as the purely science people, even though keeping kids out of school that long and traumatizing 2-year-olds with masks wasn't good science. Fauci supported some strange policies for such an esteemed epidemiologist. Natural immunity doesn't count now? Meaning, even if you've had the disease, you still had to get the shot? That sounds more like what Pfizer and Fauci's celebrity friends wanted to hear. He let this shit go to his head. Turns out the really dangerous, intimate contact wasn't shaking hands, it was kissing ass.
Exactly. So spot on. He's good, Bill Maher. He says he's a Democrat, but he leans more right than left. He's so good.
But you have to try
Ladies,
awfully hard.
Teo, don't know whether that's your real name. I don't like it when you put your food up. It makes me so hungry, but it looks magnificent. Okay, if you haven't been following it, listen to this. This is the Sophie Cunningham thing about men in women's sports. It's a big issue in the States at the moment, huge issue. Let's have a listen to what they've got to say.
Kendall, you're just sadly used to today's Fever Lynx game in Minneapolis. NCAA softball player Kendall Kotzmacher says a counter-protester with a megaphone screamed that she should have been aborted, all because she attended a rally supporting women and girls in sports. Now, Kendall is with me along with independent journalist Brandy Cruz. Kendall, you're just sadly used to this at this point. But did you do anything to provoke that, I guess, man to scream at you like that?
No, we were there in peace and love to show our support for Riley. Our whole organization, the purpose is to stand up for women and show that we're not anti-trans, we're pro-women. We're just trying to fight for Title IX and fight for our right to play sports with women.
Brandy, I'm really convinced that the liberal sports media, they're much worse than anything on MS Now or, frankly, anyone in the DSA. These people are of a different species. What do you make of this?
Yeah. After the show, Laura, can you send me the names of those sports podcasts so I can make sure I never even inadvertently listen to one of them as long as I live? It was like
what
nails
sports
on a
did they play?
chalkboard.
Yeah.
Yeah, Kendall, I'm so sorry that happened to you. We had a similar incident with a teen athlete in Seattle when we had a rally here. Mm-hmm. And one of the other things I'll say about that gentleman who was shouting that at you, this is a city where they rioted and burnt down buildings in the name of black people, right? Well, that same guy was holding up a sign with the C word on it, which I won't utter on your show, Laura, and holding it over the head of a black woman who was there with an XXXY shirt to support women's athletics. So help me make sense of those two different narratives in Minneapolis.
Well, Kendall, you're a phenomenal softball player. I played softball as well, and I was a pitcher. And occasionally some of the guys from the high school baseball team would come over and, play with us. I'm sorry, they even underhand, even never throwing a fast pitch in 15 minutes, they're wailing it across the plate. It's just not even close. I'm sorry.
Of course it's not.
Close.
We'll leave it there rather than go on. But it's interesting, isn't it? Men and women's sports, it's just insane. And yet the AFL have just cleared a biological men to play AFLW in Adelaide. So we're heading for the same thing in Australia. But it is interesting how the centre left, or the left, I should say, not the centre left, the nutty left, they can have all the protests they like. And people from the centre right, like myself and probably you, we've got better things to do. We're not going to go out and counter protest and deny them their speech. But if you dare have a protest that supports a centre-right aligned issue, for example, like protesting against men and women's sports, they just have to turn up and try and deny you your right to your speech. It's a double standard that we shouldn't accept, that our politicians should actually protect us from. If we want to have a protest, or we want to have for example, I showed you a video the other week where you had some people that were anti-abortion and pro-Jesus, and they were outside the boundaries of a certain event that was pro-abortion. And they were just standing there and having conversations with people and disagreements, but civil, with people who were pro-choice. And then someone from the pro-choice lot got the police involved, and then they got these men moved on. Why? How's that civil discourse? How's that a society where we're allowed to actually have our opinion and express it, as opposed to not being able to do it? You're entering into totalitarian governance at that point, where you deny one part of your society their right to speech while allowing another one to theirs. And that's what the left are. The left are mini totalitarians. You don't believe that? Go back to the COVID years. They loved it. They loved shutting us down, locking us in our houses, denying us travel. They were in their element, just like Bill Maher said. Unbelievable. Anyway, let's see if there's any other more clips. Oh. Warning, this one's a bit confronting. These are the people they let out on bail.
What's up with that McDonald's shit? What's up with that McDonald's shit, bitch? What's up with that McDonald's shit? What's up with that McDonald's shit, bitch? You want to run, bitch?
This is a crazy black man.
Huh? I bet you run again, motherfucker. I bet you run again, motherfucker.
He walked around attacking.
You said something? You said something, motherfucker? You said something?
Sorry, I should. Well, you can't put the voice down, and we got to see it. This again is our society. We let out these criminals. This guy's been let out on bail, God knows how many times, and he's walking around. He actually knocked this poor lady out, and she had to go to hospital. And he pursued this lady, saying he's going to kill her because he saw her as a MAGA supporter. These are the people they let out on bail on our street.
Keep playing, nigga. Keep playing, nigga. Keep fucking playing, nigga. What's up with that McDonald's shit? You Donald Trump, motherfucker, and that other motherfucker who raped my son Elijah, I'ma fucking kill you, nigga. You a fuck, nigga. You know what the fuck
that guy needs to be in an asylum. Sorry. We need mental asylums brought back in. These crazies have got to be taken off our streets. And if you don't think we don't have crazies in Melbourne walking around our streets, you're nuts. It's probably a bit worse than that. What else have we got in here? Let's have a look at just the home thing. Let's see what's making news today, and then we'll call it a day. Still happy she put a meal up the other day. Oh, my God, looked magnificent. Where is Christian? Approximately 43% of the Australian politician. Yeah, so they put no religion, then they've got Catholic, Anglican, Islam, but they don't put a place for Christian. So in the Christian denomination, there's a lot of other Christians that aren't Catholic, that aren't Anglican, aren't uniting. Where's this? If you get that, like not there, write it in the other box. So put it in the other box and write there what your thing is. Readers added context. Christianity is an umbrella term that covers many denominations such as Catholic, Anglican, and Baptist, amongst other Christian denominations. The census is asking for specific denominations. Christianity would not provide accurate information on bullshit. Do you find this helpful? No, I find it a right load of shit. Anyway. Parents, you're responsible to ensure your kids learn and practice math every single day so when they grow up, they will not become a low IQ, stupid and arrogant Greens cult supporter who is so confident and said it out loud that 1 billion is 1 million. Let's have a listen. She did too. I remember listening to this yesterday.
A billion is a million. So that means if somebody has $1 billion, they could own 1 million average price houses in Australia.
Please explain.
Gina Reinhardt could buy enough houses for half the population of Australia. You see, people don't get by how much a billion is. She could buy every one of them a house at $1 million. A billion is a million. So that means if somebody has $1 billion, they could own 1 million average price houses in Australia.
Please explain.
Gina Reinhardt could buy enough houses for half the population of Australia. You see, people don't get by how much a billion is.
Those who may not know, a billion is 1,000 million, not a million. That's the Greens. Little wonder this country's in so much trouble. Well, okay. I'm going to say something controversial. So this is Shari and Avi. They're both Jewish people. Nothing wrong with that. I love the Jewish community. Good on them. I've worked with them. Fantastic people. The Royal Commission has heard from over 2,000 witnesses, including controversial pro-Palestinian activists and Muslim clerics. but they've refused to hear testimony from the highest-ranking Jewish Australian government ministry in history, Josh Frydenberg. Let's see what Sherry's got to say. And political leaders responsible for the handling of the anti-Semitism crisis, like Anthony Albanese and Tony Burke, haven't been called to the witness stand. It makes you wonder if this Royal Commission is running a protection. Makes you wonder. Oh, for God's sakes! It was from the moment it was called, it was a protection racket. And sorry, there's members of the Jewish leadership groups that actually participated in the framing of that Royal Commission. Albo just jumped all over it. He thought it was Christmas. I'll explain why in a minute. Let's see what Harvey's got. Harvey, Sherry's right. The Royal Commission is running a protection racket, of course, for the Labor government, of course. I've also been refused the opportunity to give evidence. Well, I'm not surprised, but they'll put loony fringe Sarah Swartz forward to complain about the community's response to her work legitimising anti-Semitism. Yet somehow someone who represents a much broader section of the community and has faced numerous violent anti-Semitic attacks, both on and off camera, isn't relevant enough to hear from. What a farce. Well, Harvey, sorry, mate, just like me, you're not as important as you think you are. And, mate, if you don't, maybe watch some of your own clips to realise why they won't put you on there. So, Josh Frydenberg should be getting heard from. Harvey, not so much you, I don't think. There have been plenty of Jewish representatives have their say. But there are also members of the Jewish community when this Royal Commission was being framed that was encouraging it to be about anti-Semitism. From the moment this Royal Commission was made about anti-Semitism, it was unfair. It should never have been made about anti-Semitism. It should have been a Royal Commission into radical Islam. So maybe take your bitching and go talk to people like Josh Burns, Dreyfus, talk to people from, I can't remember which organisation, but there was a Jewish organisation that pushed for the Royal Commission to be about anti-Semitism. And when they pushed that to Albo, he's going, you beauty, this is Christmas. I don't have to make it about radical Islam. He was under serious heat to call a proper Royal Commission, and he did, but certain members of the Jewish community gave him an out. He called it about anti-Semitism. And all of a sudden, he doesn't have to answer any questions about radical Islam. And you now can get some of the worst of the radical Islamic movement, the worst of their supporters, questioning Jewish people about anti-Semitism and also questioning their ethics and morals behind supporting Israel after October 7th. It's a farce. The whole thing's a farce. And yet again, how much is that costing the Australian taxpayer? No politician is always right, but mostly I agree. Pauline Hanson's been right about an awful lot. Albanese's rushed anti-Semitism inquiry just locked out Frydenberg and Markson. Yeah, Frydenberg, I understand. Markson, why did she need to be given testimony? The Albanese government set a one-year reporting deadline for the Royal Commission into anti-Semitism, findings due 14th of December, exactly a year after the Bondi Beach slaughter. That compressed timeline is now sidelined two of Australia's most prominent Jewish voices. Okay, I get Josh Frydenberg. I don't get why Sherry Markson needs to be heard. Sherry Markson has a platform every night. I've got no idea. Is Sherry Markson being a victim of any anti-Semitism? Josh Frydenberg, I get. He's a leader within the community. I get he should be heard. But I don't think Harvey has got a platform or Sherry has got a platform should necessarily be heard from. Why? Frydenberg was a preeminent public voice demanding this inquiry. Markson has spent years documenting the surge in anti. So has most people in the media. Part of being in commission doesn't have to, whether you like it or not, the Royal Commission gets called. It decides who its witnesses will be. No one else. But again, once you made it about anti-Semitism, it wasn't going to be the Royal Commission you wanted. I don't get why people are ranting about that. James Patterson, well, it's because of James Patterson and his party that we got this Royal Commission. And We got the hate speech laws. James should walk off to a corner somewhere in shame and realise the part they played in this. They should have been out when it got called. They should have come out and violently opposed it. They didn't, and now they're having a whinge when it's too late. Yeah, I don't know why people are so. It was always going to happen. So why people getting upset now when the obvious occurrence is going to happen is beyond me. This is really funny, actually. Just in, the WNBA is assembling a task force of key figures to hold a meeting and figure out what woman means for purpose of accepting players into the league. You've got to be freaking kidding me. Ans Cantor Freedom and Royce White, this is hilarious, have done the nation a massive favour when it comes to exposing transgender for the insanity it really is. This is beyond parody. A task force to define the word woman. Have a listen. These men have decided to nominate for the WNBA's draft. It's hilarious.
You know, right now I'm just having a blast. You know, right now I'm just having a blast in my feminine era. I never thought that I was a woman. You know, I've always trusted the science, and I thought I was a man my entire life. But you know, after further review, strong look at my personal preferences, it would appear that I am indeed sometimes identifying as a transgender woman, and I think it's only fair I get a chance to play with some of my queens in the twilight of my career, my athletic prime.
Well, and so exactly what you're saying, Royce, is just sort of pulls the curtain back on the lack of clarity in the WNBA's policies under Article 8 of their 2026 collective bargaining agreement. It's simply...
You know, right now,
it's hilarious. There's him and another guy that have nominated, and these are like ex-NBA athletes, 6'8" or something, can dunk all this. They would dominate the WNBA if they played. Now, he's just taking the mickey out of it. But we need like AFL footballers starting to nominate for the WAFL, you know, if they're going to go down this road as well. We're living in 2026. We're living when more information is more freely available to the general public than ever before, when we've got the most amazing technology and we've got people like this numbnuff who doesn't understand what a woman is when she's a woman. We're crazy. We'll do two more. What Channel 9 didn't show you. This is the protest in Sunshine over the Vietnamese trader that got murdered. What?
Blame the courts. Blame the Labour Party. If you want to vote Labour again, more of this shit's going to happen. Why are they out on bail already? I don't care if they're 12. They should be inside locked up.
Strong laws! Strong laws! Strong laws! Strong laws! Strong laws! Strong laws! What do we want? Justice! When do we want it? Now! Set our streets right now! Enough is enough! Enough is enough! I'm angry.
I don't want the man who I bought bean sprouts from last week to die. I remember him behind that counter as anyone else would. He could have been my uncle, my grandfather, my father.
Absolutely right.
We need a lot more patrols. I'm so hurt. I'm an Aussie, but I'm proud of Vietnamese people.
Please, no, change.
I've had a knife pointed at me. I've been shot. I've been kicked. I've been punched. Police come. What do? They arrest these people. They let them out. An hour later, I see the same guy walking on the street. What's happening?
Protect families! Protect us! Protect us!
Judges make the final decision. The judges are letting people out on the streets the very next day.
Community and safety for everybody in Australia.
That shouldn't be hard, should it? Stronger laws, safer communities, And good on Rukshan for getting out there, because because I probably butt heads with Harvey. Rukshan has told me he will come on the podcast. I look forward to that, Rukshan. But credit to Rukshan, he got out there and covered it like other news organisations wouldn't. And he did it live too. So well done, Rukshan. What else we got? We got to get a second one. Tony Birkin. The census. Well, yeah, it's probably a good place. What have they got about the census to say?
Has just admitted the census website crashed last night because it was the victim of a cyber attack. Let's go to 7 News political reporter Amelia Brace in Canberra with his breaking news. What happened, Amelia?
Well, now this is just developing as we speak. We are expecting an updated statement from the Australian Bureau of Statistics, but all we know is that that census site was shut down last night after being attacked by foreign hackers. The chief statistician of the ABS says the website was attacked 4 times by hackers and was shut down as a result. Of course, overnight we've seen widespread outcry from millions of Australians who were trying to log on to complete that survey. We now know why that site failed so spectacularly.
The ABS has just admitted
shouldn't
the
laugh.
census.
But this is what I was saying before. I mean, hackers are going to get any details. I mean, if you're going to, the only way to protect yourself 100% is not to get on the internet. Sadly, I've been a victim of hackers, and there's not much people can do about it. We'll see. Anyway, I think that's enough for one day. We've got our hour in. I had my rant. We'll be back tomorrow for another good rant, another good Bible read. No, it hasn't. And look, he's so beautiful. My co-star. Been so much better behaved than yesterday. For those who watched yesterday, my God, I was up and down those stairs. I thought I was going to die. So anyway, that'll do it for a day. Tomorrow night, we'll have our longer, Thursday night it'll be this week. I can't do tomorrow night. I have a work function on. But Thursday night, we'll be having our Tuesday. Usually we have Tuesday evening, we have our longer podcast. But most times it's me and Ben. Now, sometimes it's just me. If you want to be a guest, let me know. We'd love to have some guests, some different voices. Last week we had Stephen Peake from One Nation. He was brilliant. So there was 3 of us having a good old long chat. And that's a longer version of politics where we all bounce ideas off each other. So if you're a political junkie like I am, that's a great chat to log into and listen to and share your opinions. We had lots of great feedback from the chat last week, so it was all good stuff. Otherwise, every morning, Monday to Friday, 9 o'clock, the Eureka Conservative. Oh, excuse me. This is what happens when I have a coffee. The Eureka Conservative Daily, right at 9 or close to. All right, so God bless your kids. God bless your grandkids. God bless your pets. God bless that flag. And God bless this country. We'll see you tomorrow, 9 o'clock. Have a great Tuesday, everybody. Bye for now.